ahead and start. Welcome to the last virtual DeCaf of 2020. And can you guys even believe that it's less than, 2 weeks to Christmas? Isn't that crazy? 10 days to Christmas.
No kidding.
And what a heck of a year. So anyway, here we are at, virtual coffee, virtual DeCaf, anything to do with owner financing and notes. And most recently, because of inspiration from this crazy year, things that I like to talk about in regards to freedom in all its forms. And so I appreciate you guys being here. Let me just go ahead and Axel, really quick, give us the housekeeping before I forget.
Sure. If you have any questions, you can chat them over to support. That's me. I can field those questions over to Dawn. If you want to jump in the conversation, you can unmute yourself. You have the ability to do so in the bottom left corner, or if you hover your mouse over the screen, you should see a little microphone, and you just click on mute, and you can jump into the conversation.
Thank you, Axel. I appreciate you being here. I know you got lots of kids running around your house and everything. I always appreciate your help. So first thing I want to say is, one of the things, because I'll forget if I don't handle it now, so forgive me, but I'm just going to jump in with, you guys have probably heard me say that my Mormon background has made me quite a prepper, food, water, medications, communication devices, heat, filtration, all sorts of things. If you haven't done anything, I would suggest that tomorrow morning would be a great time to get a few things. I think it's not rocket science to sort of assume that any number of reasons could alter our supply of things. So just a word to the wise, please do that now. In fact, I was really inspired because you never know, you don't know that the next generation is really listening sometimes. And I had a nephew of mine all of a sudden called me up last night and he says, I just have the idea that I should start doing a little preparedness, and I spent $600 at Costco yesterday and I never do stuff like that. And he goes, and I thought, who do I know has been doing this a long time? So we had a great chat, and he's all, I got to make sure my family has some things. I don't know, he's 27, 28 years old. So I was really thrilled to have that conversation with him. So please do that. And just be ready for anything. Hope for the best, be prepared for the worst, hope for the best. And a lot of times just the community and the friends and the people that you have in your support network is almost the most important thing as well.
Well said.
So
I want you to know, Don, that living in Tahoe and awaiting the influx of the tourists, we always have a 2 to 3 week supply of anything. I mean, you self-quarantine when they come, whether there's a pandemic or not.
That's a fantastic point. And you know what? It's too bad you don't have any water up there around Lake Tahoe. Only the deepest lake.
Yeah. Just stay away from the yellow snow and it's no problem.
Oh, geez. Okay, so hey, Abby, real quick,
Yes.
because I know Kayla has to leave before too long. This is a brand new person to our group, and she is from Beverly Hills, and just wants to, I said that she should connect with you. Why don't you go ahead and share a little bit about why don't you two just talk a little bit?
Sure. I'm sorry, I didn't catch the name of the person that you mentioned. I'm sorry.
Kayla Nakasaka.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Thank you.
Yes. So you're new to the group, is that right?
Yes.
Are you a real estate investor?
Yes.
Gotcha.
I'm an attorney. I'm an estate planning and asset protection attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been a real estate investor longer than I've been an attorney, for maybe about 35 years.
Gotcha. What's the goal, if you don't mind me asking?
So I have relationships with banks, and in Q1, Q2 of next year, there are going to be a lot of REOs and non-performing notes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons why I'm here, because I'm looking for note buyers and REO buyers.
Well, you found them.
Yeah, so I just said that she said, make sure you two
Yes,
connect. So why
please.
don't you want to give your email or something, Abby?
Yes, I'm going to put my email into the chat here, if that's all right.
Okay, I'll do that too.
Yeah, and just to let you know, we are, I co-founded a company called Amerinote Exchange, and Amerinote Exchange is a loan acquisition firm that operates primarily in the mainland United States. We purchase performing, non-performing residential, commercial, firsts, seconds for your specific bank clientele that you're making reference to. They're going to not only probably have a laundry list of non-performers and REOs, which I would imagine there would be a long line of people and institutions waiting in line for that. So that may be where all the attention is. It would be my suggestion to focus on where no one is looking. And what that would probably be is, second lien, non-accrual, loans that have been rotting on their shelves for years. And this is basically, the term is non-accrual. I mean, really, that's what you're kind of approaching, specifically performing firsts and non-performing seconds behind performing firsts that have been non-accrued. I believe that is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So, and we'll do all of it. So the problem with the non-performing REOs is that they're going to start seeing this rabidness, the same way that property markets are reacting and have been for the past 4 years. It's not fun, and it's illogical, and it defies the laws of physics. And it's just not it's more speculation than it is, for a sound investment, or even getting involved in the wholesaling of those. So you may find difficulty. I hope I'm wrong, but there may be difficulty knowing that. And I believe, Dawn, to everyone, I'm saying this to everyone, we had talked about in March, the all of the non-performers that were going to hit the market. And, what we found is that the banks know what's going on. Now you see news reports where not only everyone, first-time home buyers are lining up for non-performing notes because they think they're going to get a deal that way, not really knowing the ins and outs, because everyone heard how well everyone did, or this very small group of people did in 2008, 9, 10, and 11, when they were positioned there where the rest of the world wasn't watching. And now they're going, well, we're not going to miss this one. And all attention's focused on here. And then all the action's going to happen over here. So that would be my suggestion in a nutshell.
I didn't get your email address.
Of course,
I put it in the chat.
Yep. So Abby Shemish, Abby. Yeah, I'm very much so looking forward to seeing how this plays out. I just got done reading an article. Not that I put too much faith in articles and news media, but there is you can see this. Not the article was just clarification or verification, I should say, of what I was seeing in the market, which is, again, rabidness. It's the best way I can describe it. People are, trying to sell at the highest dollar amount. People are trying to, or buy at the highest dollar amount or lowest dollar amount, sell at the highest dollar amount. There's just a tremendous amount of rabidness on both sides. And there's a disconnect where the investors are waiting for all of these deals. I have all this money to deploy, all this capital to deploy. And then the banks on the other end, or the lenders on the other end, are going, no, I'm gonna wait and see what happens. Because if there is a stimulus that does happen, that's going to, the clouds are going to part, the sunshine is going to come out, the rainbow and the animals are going to frolic in the field. And then about 4 months in, the asteroid's going to hit when no one's looking. And that's really that's what I see coming. So I actually prepared tonight, Dawn, just in case we get a little crazy. I got my tinfoil hat just in case we get a little nuts. So I'm just going to set that aside right there. And we'll hold it later.
I like your at first I thought you were going to say, I actually have all these links and these things up to share with people. And then you put on the hat.
There's a tremendous, and I, with regards to providing the source material, because my whole thing is you always go to the source, whether you're digesting, political news or investment news or whatever the case may be. Never take the word of the person saying, I saw this report or experts say, and then they don't provide anything. And I suggest that be the case here as well. You always want to check the work, trust but verify. And everything that I know, I speak about, and I'm pretty sure from my experience that Dawn has presented has been fairly accurate with regards to the facts. And then, of course, there's opinion that surrounds that, but we're very clear on that, this is my opinion kind of thing. But the fact is that everyone is waiting for distressed assets to hit the market, whether it be stocks or notes or specifically properties. And I find we're going to see that it's going to be a lot different this time around, where it's not going to be toxic mortgages that going to drive the downturn. It's going to be unemployment that's going to drive a downturn. It's going to be a different animal, and same result, different path. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. Let's touch in. So I checked that off. Next, I want to touch in with David Kurtzman. Any little update from you other than that you have your supply of tourists? No, not tourists. Things to avoid the tourists. Let's check in with you. And I think Christina's here from Reno. Let's check in with you too real quick.
Well, it's weird up here because California has all of their strict regulations, and no indoor dining or even outdoor dining, I think now. And yet you go right over the state line, and Nevada's halfway open. So it's kind of weird here, but we're really getting hit with cases, about 100 of them yesterday.
Excuse me.
And so you just have to weather it out, and the locals are just in hiding, and the markets, there's probably, I think the last time I looked, there were like 9 houses for sale that weren't in escrow, 5 of which were over $1 million.
Gotcha. Yeah, just one word that, and you can trust but verify yourself. I've read so many articles on this, but the testing is what they're basically using. Cases, and that's a very subjective sort of thing. The PCR testing, the guy who created it, I was reading something from him. The guy who created it, I can't pull up his name off the top of my head. There's a K. But he is just like, it was never meant to be used for this. It's totally inappropriate. I'm totally ashamed of my profession that they've done, this. There's really, they're using cases and dialing it up and dialing it down. So you should really look into that. To me, they're just trying to hype the fear factor depending on what the objective is. And,
right. Carrie Mullis is his name. Carrie Mullis.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And it's just really such a show. And they're getting called out on it, courts here and there. And I don't know if anyone read that letter from those doctors in Contra Costa, California. They're saying, what the heck? Everybody knows that there's tons of false positives. And since when do you go around testing for people that aren't even symptomatic? It's really pretty crazy. So right. Anyway.
Well, problems we're having here, we've got banks that aren't opening because there's nobody to work in them. We have title companies that a normal 3-week escrow is taking 6 to 8 weeks. And that, of course, we're a small town. So,
yeah, and other things too. Anyone else noticed big trouble getting any note deals or real estate deals closed because of COVID stuff?
Right here. I mean, it's tremendous. I have I'm going on week 6 right now for a transaction. I started this in October, a deal that it's all title company issues. And then Red Key, Dawn, remember? How long did that take?
Oh, that's
we had to switch title companies once or twice. And we finally got one. It took months to close that $13,000 deal.
I know.
We could have grown the trees and brought them to, life and chopped them down. I mean, we could have had a whole lifespan here.
Yeah, but actually, even though that was a super small deal, like the back end to each of us and our self-directeds, wherever we threw
yeah.
it's still
no brainer.
Well, shoot, there's a lot of juice on the back end of that.
No brainer. No brainer.
But anyway, I just wanted, Christina, just tell us what you're doing up in Reno.
Hey, I kind of go along with what David, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, Christina.
Okay. I kind of go along with what David was saying. Everything is slow, being blamed on COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just insane. We do not slow down of the market though. However, I don't see the seasonal slowdown that we normally get.
Mm-hmm.
We're at about a half-month inventory. So I think once Christmas is over, things gonna keep on rolling.
Yeah, just for me, in terms of our short-term rentals and things like that, we've just kept being slammed. And of course, then now it's legislative session. Everything in Carson City is just totally booked up. And then I said, I hear you guys might be doing Zoom legislative session. Nate said, we're still coming. Even if they try to do a lot of the sessions, a lot of the legislators they're still coming to town, as far as I know. And that's only a month away from all of them dropping in.
Have you heard anything as far as, Google just announced they were going to be working from home until at least next September of
21.
Mm-hmm. And I was wondering if anybody else has heard, because if they start drawing people back, that's going to have, an interesting impact.
Mm-hmm. On who, may I ask?
Well, a lot of these people, assumed that they could just move to the mountains and run their business from the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden the company says, nope, we want you back here. Mm-hmm. So what are they going to do with their properties up here that they just bought? Things of that nature, and that of course is a small town impact. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure each of the, Apple, Google, all the different ones are going to treat it a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. And it's just going to be interesting to see what percentage of those people never go back to the office other than for, special meetings.
I agree. I think that you're absolutely right. I think that that's going to be a huge thing. And I also believe, I know I have friends that work for Salesforce and Google, and a good friend of mine works for Salesforce, and, and even my wife's company, Pulse Point, which closed their San Francisco office in the ad tech space. If you are planning on moving and working remotely outside of California or wherever you decide to go, you have to let the human resources department know, or whoever the overseer is of that, and they're going to reduce salaries based on the area in which you live. So if you're moving to Boise, Idaho, and you make $300,000 a year, you may get a $40,000, $60,000 pay cut because the cost of living there is much cheaper. And
yet you're still going to have to pay California income tax.
And you're still going to have to pay, and that's yikes.
My sister works for Vision Service Plan over there in Rancho Cordova, yes. And the same thing's happening with that company too. If you move out of state, mm-hmm. They'll reduce your salary by I don't know if it's a flat thing. She mentioned 12% or something, mm-hmm. But it makes sense depending on where you're living. They have like a 5-building campus, and they're planning on downsizing to maybe 2 buildings, mm-hmm. or and she's not planning on going back into the office ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that this, and I know Dawn would agree, and I maybe some of the folks out here, the 37 participants, or 35, including Dawn and myself, I feel, and I've said this from the beginning, it's not like, I'm clairvoyant. You could just see the terrain. You could just read the terrain. This has never been about a virus. This has been about the soft, quiet, hostile takeover of our monetary system. And we're seeing that and going to see that more and more. Now we have governments picking winners and losers instead of the market. And I know we've been hearing about this for a long time. This is the most exciting time to be alive, the scariest time to be alive, the most depressing time to be alive. It's very interesting, as David said. It's very interesting, and we're really very anxious. Not anxious is the right word, but excited and scared to see what the future brings.
John Martinez just posted something which I had heard about. New York is talking about a 5% work from home tax.
There it is.
And I've heard of other communities that are saying, because you're not going into work and you're not shopping at the Starbucks and so on, and creating tax revenue that way, we're going to tax you for working at home.
That's crazy.
Oh, that's special.
Yep. Well, that's New York. That's New York. They'll just get more people to leave New York, yep. Which is doing a mass exiting now.
Yeah. Well,
the
governor's doing a good job on that himself. I mean, look, governors are, the legislate. I really, I'm no expert on, policy and how governments work, but I will tell you that the legislators are the ones that drive policy. The governors are there to carry out the orders of the will of the people, which is determined through their elected officials in the states and both in our country, on a federal level and a state level. When you have the executive has certain power, but when you have executives acting like dictators, I'm not talking about, left, right, whatever, they're all doing it. I mean, everyone is doing it. The governor of Utah is doing it in a different sense. The governor in, California, in Michigan, in New York, Florida, Texas, they're all making their own decisions. Some are less heavy-handed, others are not. That's a problem because there's no end in sight. They don't say, okay, we're going to do this for this amount of time, and then we're going to remove this power back to the people. We're going to only allot them this amount of power for this amount of time, the governor, that is, or whatever the case may be. They never have an expiration date on. This is a forever change. And we're expecting these politicians to hand back power. If I recall correctly, the only person in our country's history that ever handed back power was George Washington. That was the only person in our history when he actually, defeated, he got Cornwallis's signature or surrender in Virginia, and they wanted to call him the king, and they were arguing over what his title should be, and he said president. He actually handed back power to the government. He said, I don't want anything to do with this, and he went back and farmed his cherries or whatever he did. But I think that's the only person. So we got to keep this in sight.
Yeah, and to me, this is like I have said before, this is our 1776.
It is.
And, there's a lot of famous quotes, but it's like it's at every few years or every couple of generations, the tree of freedom needs apparently to be nourished with blood, apparently. I mean, the price of freedom it's never free. Like here in Nevada, the governor it's almost worse than shutting everybody down. It's like stay at 25%. Can you imagine? You can't even afford it. It's hard for these small restaurants and things like that. Just today, I think he was saying 25% for your restaurants or whatever capacity for different things, except for churches. He was saying nobody can go to church, but he just lost in court, I think today, yesterday or today, that he can't discriminate against churches. And it's just like
the question is why? Why would he do that?
Look, if people aren't getting awake by this nonsense, I mean, the worse it gets, the more people get going, let me ask a few more questions. Let me go beneath the surface. So I'm actually really, really happy about it. At the same time, it's just really bizarre. But me personally, I'm going to go around and just really offer help to the local businesses and say, I know you're scared, and here's some actual solutions, because you got to stand up and take. Since when do we the people have to run in fear of our government? I mean, that's when it's gotten really bad. And it's our duty, I think, to have civil disobedience when you have tyranny, tyrants in charge. So that's just my opinion. Let's just go ahead. Does anyone have, we're already a half hour in. Anyone have any particular scenario or question that they wanted to work over tonight? if not, I have just a couple things I'll bring up just as so we do a little bit of the real estate notes, owner financing combo. I have a couple things in the wings, but who has anything that they maybe want to ask about, share, bring up to the group?
Let me just touch bases. I've been in this process of moving a note from one property to another.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
It's I carried back a note a couple of years ago. The property is being sold. The buyer is paying cash. I don't want to get paid off. The seller is 1031ing into another property, and I'm going to move the note to that property. And in fact, Abby looked over the paperwork. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, Dawn.
Something about a personal guarantee?
Yeah. So because when you close escrow on the one property,
Right. I
don't get the money until, because I don't want to be paid off, but it's going to be unsecured for a couple of days till it records on the new property. So basically converted it to a personal guarantee in the interim.
Yeah.
But I want to maintain the existing note because it's a tax deferred exchange, and I don't want to change anything in that because nothing I know of says that the security for an installment sale has to be the property you sell.
Right.
But if I change the note and replace it with a new note on another property, my concern is that some lowly IRS guy will say, that was effectively a payoff.
Yeah, I don't think.
Well, excuse me, if I can interject, I don't think any addresses are on any notes. They're on the deed of trust.
Correct. Yeah.
So you'd have.
It would only be if they ever got audited.
I got you. Okay. So.
And they tracked the paperwork.
So if you got audited and then they saw that it was on a different piece of property.
Yep.
Right. Which again, I can't find anything that says you can't do that. But my project is to keep the original promissory note intact.
Mm-hmm.
But the interesting stumbling block I came up against right now, the next one is that he has one property in one LLC, and the property he's acquiring is going to be a different LLC. It's still going to be paying on the note, but I just want to make sure that doesn't trigger anything. So, I've got my feelers out and here and there and getting good.
Yeah, that's kind of convoluted. That could certainly trigger something.
Yeah. Now that being said, the check's coming from the same person. And the key is that he files under one ID number, one tax ID number. And that's the key, because when you do an exchange, you have to exchange into a property that's reported under the same tax ID.
Hey, Dave, last time we talked, you were at the point of you didn't know if the title company was going to have any issues of issuing funds.
Well, yeah, I'm because of COVID, I'm not getting a response.
Oh, okay.
Right. But yeah, I have a call in to the title company just saying what complications. And the one complication is the note and the deed of trust are not going to match as far as dates, because there's about a 2-year difference.
Well,
to me, you just do, the deed of trust just references the date of the note instead of even date.
Right. And that's what I'm assuming. It's just that it's a very anal title company that's doing it. And so they're picky about everything. So just trying to get all the ducks in a row because there's about 3 weeks to go. So it's been an interesting.
Can you use an intermediary for that?
Yeah, but they don't get it. They don't write the documents.
Okay.
They don't insure it. They just, and I've talked to them also.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a gal that was kind of raising her hand.
Yeah.
That wanted to talk about something. I don't see her.
JC Brim. Not there. Okay.
Well, does anyone have a deal or a question that they want to bring up? Because I like doing deal review, 1 or 2 things that just. Is that you? Are you back?
Yeah, but you guys have moved on, so I'm not bring it up. It wasn't about a note directly. It just had something to do with something that I heard was going to happen in California for 2021 regarding renters. And Well, I just heard today that they're going to be allowed not to pay rent for the whole of 2021. That's some information that I got in another group today in the state of California so far. And I was just wondering if anyone else has heard about that.
No. Hold on, I'm checking here.
Holy cow. I'd say that's a good
Yeah.
time for y'all to get out of there.
Yeah, California
Yeah.
could
Get
extend
out
eviction
there.
orders, yeah, to 2022.
Unless you're a renter, move in there.
Yeah, it's being reported everywhere.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, 2022 is it's not official, but it's pretty, from what I'm seeing, it's pretty close.
Wow. Well, that's
Yeah, and I was just wondering about that when I think about strategy for 2021. Just speculating, I guess.
Yeah. Well, what's the? I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat. What's the strategy?
The strategy would go talk to every lender and say, hope you don't mind me paying this mortgage because I'm not getting paid. We're all on the line here.
Yeah.
And you need to get relief from Uncle Sam.
And that always comes with strings attached.
That's right.
Well, of course.
That Uncle Sam really is you and I, the taxpayer.
Of course.
And Uncle
That's right.
Sam is pretty well stretched out right now too.
The government doesn't have money. It takes our money to do things. Just everyone remember that. The government doesn't have money. We give them the money.
Or we borrow the money from
Or
China or somebody.
Right.
And then
Exactly.
then China's the puppet, or we're the puppet, China's the puppet player.
To be more accurate, that is correct. And in our Constitution, it says that we don't have to do that. The only two presidents I'm aware of that ever broke ranks with that was Lincoln, when he created the greenback to fund the Civil War, or the North's response, and then Kennedy tried to put the dollar back on the silver standard. And so I could fact check me on this, but about 18 days later, he got his brain blown out in national television. So, that's definitely a message for sure. I'm not saying that's why. There's 17 different reasons why, but that's
an interesting number.
I also wanted to share this quickly, if I could. A guy in another group, he has some friends who are a big deal in the mortgage field, and he just said that there are 15.6 million mortgage defaults and 42.5 million evictions that are currently on hold and just waiting for the green light. So that was pretty
the other interesting dynamic is when all of the smoke clears, the rent is still due.
Right.
And therefore, there's going to be one heck of a lot of judgments out there that you could probably pick up for 5 cents on the dollar.
Right. Yeah. True. That's a very good point. We also got to keep in mind too that there's, and again, fact check me on this, I'm going from memory here, but I would say maybe 45 days ago, California put into effect, or is about to put into effect, who gets first crack at non-perform or foreclosure auctions. So
Abby, real quick, this is Sri. So I looked at I was listening to the recording, so there's a small correction in it.
Okay.
Because I'm going through that process on a Cali note.
Okay.
What happens is, let's suppose you go bid at a REO or at the trustee sale. You get the property. After that, there's a certain period of time, I think it's 90 days or 6 months, where a California resident, they have to be a resident of California, and their intention is to occupy the home as a homeowner, not as an investor. Then what happens is, let's suppose the property is worth 1 million, and I got it at the auction for 600. That homeowner can come in and say, I want to bid $600,001. They would get the property.
That's right. That's right. Yep. And if they can't do that, doesn't it go to some sort of fancy 501c3 non-for-profit behind it? Something like that. Like, so first it's the borrower gets first crack. Then they're this weird non-for-profit, sustainability for the future of, disadvantaged peoples. And then you find out that the board sits on a is somewhere in, Asia that has ties to, whatever country, and they're the ones funding the deal. You know what I mean? So it's very, very nefarious in my opinion. But this is, and New York's now looking at it. So to your point, David, finding that judgment 5 cents on the dollar, one thing, but with this whole, this whole tidal wave that everyone sees, everyone's paying attention, sees coming at us, I feel like they have the playbook already written for how they're going to handle it. It's going to be sleight of hand. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I mean, and just the other things we've talked about in the past, I mean, we've got the Great Reset versus the Great Awakening and going back to a gold standard or something like that. I think there are just a lot of, let's say, what do you call it? It's black swans. Things
Black
that could
swan
come,
event.
yeah, things that can come out that aren't, kind of in our wheelhouse. So there's what could happen, and then there's something completely different could. So that's why it's so important, I think, to stay really nimble on your feet. Just just stay as grounded as you can and pay attention.
Yeah.
Follow your intuition. It could really be extraordinarily important. So there was a couple, just like, for instance, the couple of calls that I have had this week, a gal that I've worked with quite a bit, actually. She's one of my main investors, has been from early on. She's a real estate broker. She manages property, just a great gal. And her husband is a general contractor, so they know real estate inside and out. And one deal, she's the listing agent on this property, and she said, here's a deal in, I can't remember where it is. I think it's in Encino or something like that. And she's like, I really want to get paid on this deal. It's kind of falling. She says, I don't want to do hard money loan because I'm the realtor and the seller's wife is a little crazy, so I don't really want to get involved. Can you find anyone that will do a hard money loan? But I mean, the numbers just weren't good enough. For me, because like sales price is 300 and she only has maybe 25% ish to put down. So they're looking at a 220 loan on a 300 acquisition, and she's thinking, oh, I know I can get refied out of it, but she hasn't been able to produce a qualified thing. A letter. She hasn't been approved. She can, in the next 6 to 12 months, can get refinanced out of it. And plus, it's it's got an HOA, $700 a month HOA. And I'm like, I don't put deals together like that. Like that's 67%, something like that, loan to value, 700 HOA. It's not hard for 20% equity to disappear after you cover legal fees and wondering when you can even close and force place insurance and keeping property taxes paid. And I'm going, look, here's what I would do. And they're going, my seller really wants out of it because he's going to have to, he would like it to work because I'm going to have to sue her to get her to, break the cancel the escrow, because she doesn't want to cancel the escrow. And I said, so why doesn't he be the lender? And she goes, oh yeah, that's what you do, right? I go, yeah, that's my whole world. I always think of the owner being the lender. And basically I said, what's the skin off of his nose? If he takes, 80,000 down and carries the rest, he's got maybe a $20,000 equity he'd have to leave on the table, 200,000 payoff. But I said, look, she's looking at her hard money in that area is probably going to charge her 12 to 15% and 5 points. Why doesn't he charge her a couple points and 9.9% interest and just let the loan ride for a little while? And she goes, oh, that's a really great idea. So let's see if I can get him on the phone with you. Will you talk to him? So, I mean, those are the types of things that, even though she's been working with me all this time and she's very creative, that we met each other through an odor carry 1031 exchange, where part of the exchange was immediately selling the note that was carried back, so that we're so anyway, so it's just good to remember, it's like there's always so many ways to put the deal together. And when I talked to her, I was like, unless you believe that there's a huge cut in the market coming. I mean, why wouldn't you want that property back for, you already got paid 80 grand and you get back a property, for at a much lower price, and the rents, it was something, then he'd be in it at what, 220 plus, if you had to take it back 220 plus costs, to call it 230, and the thing rents in California for 2250. That's almost a 1% of the gross. And I go, anyway, she goes, anyway, blah, blah, blah. So that's the kind of things that, I like throwing out there for people to just remember. There's a lot of ways to put a deal together. Any comments on that or something similar that anyone else has?
Don, you said 9.9%.
Yeah, he could be, well, I was going to keep him right under usury.
Okay. Yeah, because California usury law does not apply to seller carrybacks.
It doesn't? Well,
it's not considered a loan. It's considered an extension of credit.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just safe harbor. You won't look like you were a jerk and you gave her a better deal.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Say that again. California usury?
Yeah,
I never heard that.
A hard money loan made by a private party falls under the usury laws. So
Right.
you have a 10% APR limit.
Right.
Okay. If it's brokered,
Yeah.
there is no usury law effect. If you have a broker do it, usury law doesn't play. If it's a seller carryback, it is not considered a loan.
Okay, you know what? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So,
because it's considered an extension of credit because no money changed hands. And therefore, if it's a hard money loan, you can get a deficiency judgment if you lose out on a foreclosure sale.
Right.
If it's a
So
seller carryback, you can't get a deficiency judgment because no money changed hands.
oh, interesting.
David, is that only applicable, usury law only applicable to homeowner occupied residential properties?
Well, that's a whole other ballgame.
Say that again, Shri. I'm sorry. Repeat that, Shri.
If the borrower is not a homeowner,
Uh-huh.
I don't think the usury law applies. Like if you're a flipper,
Right.
All right.
It's not-
Gotcha.
okay.
Consumer. You're talking
Well,
about consumer, right?
Yeah, I guess everyone would need to, of course, we are not legal advisors here.
I know.
I'm definitely not one.
Don't do a deal on this chat. The other deal is just someone, that the dad is 93 and I get a call. I was following up on a lead and says, yeah, my dad, he's 93. He's been living with me. He had a stroke. He's been living with me. Now he wants to move to Oregon. And, so there's a mobile on land. And I go, man, my gardener and all his worker guys, man, they are always looking for property. So, that's the sort of thing where, it's not going to be super pretty, I'm sure. It's a 1970s-ish on maybe a quarter acre or something like that. But
Money's green.
money is green. And
For right now, anyway.
Yeah.
Soon it's going to be a different color or digital.
Yeah, the yuan or
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Anyway, so things like that were, like he's owned it free and clear for forever. So those are the kind of things going on, except for just interestingly, I think I'll just bring up I think it's a little out of the ordinary, Abby, the way you and I put that one deal together that we took down in last year.
Wilmington?
Yeah. So we actually bought the note. We had a personal property trust buy the note.
Mm-hmm.
And then we borrowed money to buy the note.
Mm-hmm.
And now we thought we were going to sell out of it, but now it's been performing so extraordinarily perfectly. We're like, we got to keep this.
Keep it.
I mean, it's just too sweet
Mm-hmm.
Of a deal. So the way that I had it set up, Abby, is that you're one of whichever account you're going to come up with, and one of my self-directed IRAs, we're going to buy down the loan that we got. So, but we're buying the trust. So I'm going to have the beneficial owner of the trust sell the beneficial and the interest in the trust to you and I. And then we're bringing in my sister for financing the balance that we're not able to pay down all at once right now.
Mm-hmm.
So she'll be, and then she'll have a recorded collateral assignment of note and lien recorded in public record. So that's how that's going to go. It's a purchase and sale agreement. You and I are buying the trust. So nothing of that changes in public record
Right.
at all. So I think that paperwork should be okay. I hope your custodian or whatever.
I think they're going to be fine with it. Yeah, I think that we'll find out tomorrow.
Because it's a little bit convoluted, a little bit different way to put it together, but it's kind of nice in that nothing has to be recorded except for one thing, which is assignment of collateral for my sister.
Mm-hmm.
So just in case, something happens to us with the tin hat thing and then she can take the payments on that note directly.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
anyway.
That was a very interesting, very creative.
And if the balloon pays off in 2024 like it's supposed to, great. And if it doesn't, great. I mean, that one note will give us each like our own pension plan, So, but so sometimes you can take a really hairy, ugly thing and turn it into something really nice.
Yeah.
So,
sometimes you got to kiss a lot of frogs, as they say.
You do have to kiss a lot of frogs.
May I ask a question regarding that?
Yeah.
Are you saying you're buying a trust? The trust is being transferred to your name?
Well, what happened is when we bought the note, we had a trust buy the note.
You had your trust by the note.
Yeah, we had a trust that we created by the note.
Okay.
But we borrowed 100% money to buy it.
So to protect your collateral, though, you had to have her sign a note to you, personal note to you.
No, it was an assignment.
So we took an assignment of a note and deed of trust, but into a trust.
Okay, got it.
Right, and so
that's very creative.
Yeah, instead of us. So we had our reasons for doing that last year as part of the ugly hairy part.
Right.
Hair's not ugly.
Good. Congratulations. Good luck with that.
Yeah. So that, I kind of stewed about how we should put that together. And I think that's the easiest plan. And since all my documents were already done and then you decided you didn't know how your vesting was going
here's that tin hat. Smash that tin hat. I sometimes when Dawn reaches out to me in text, my fingers answer before my brain does. So I do very much so apologize, and I will get that info to you tomorrow. I knew it. I know. I was like, wait, what did I just say? I was about to ask you if they're paying off. I thought we hit the lottery or something.
Shoot. Yeah, that would be something.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk really briefly. We're into it about an hour now. And I know people on the East Coast, it's late. Like Sarah, how are you staying awake, Sarah? You know what? Let's just talk a little bit about the digital. Do you mind? Have you been following anything on the digital currencies and the crypto and stuff?
Every day.
Because here we are. I'm looking at my phone here. Bitcoin's up at 19.5 and all this other stuff. XRP Ripple's given up about a third of its just since their whatever that solar flare-ish thing that they were. I couldn't. But anyway, just in general, what are you seeing?
I am seeing,
because I'm kind of wondering if there's some other currency that besides Ripple or something that'll come up to, be the Fed coin of choice or something like that.
Right. So
Facebook's coming out with a denomination next year.
Oh God, I can't wait. Maybe I hope Zuckerberg will be in jail by then. But
me too.
That's another story. Denny, you're talking about Libra.
I don't know I don't know what it's called.
So that's that. But that is there's a difference. Ripple not a currency, even though Ethereum not a currency. In my opinion, the only digital The only thing that matters out there is Bitcoin. Can you make money on Ethereum? Can you make money on Ripple? Sure. Ripple's purpose is to disrupt the SWIFT payment system, right? So just the SWIFT payment system is how billionaires and banks and money is the vehicle in which money travels internationally. So you want to, if you want to send $1 billion to China, it's going to take you 10, 12, 15 days to do that. There's no PayPal that you can send it instantly. Ripple will do it instantly. And Ripple will do it on a centralized, not a decentralized, but a centralized open source blockchain. And it will do, it will be instant. So what you would do is you would convert USD or United States dollar to Ripple, and then you would send Ripple to the hardware wallet in China, and then whoever is there would then convert it to yuan. And that's Ripple's main purpose. And then there's other talks of how that blockchain can be utilized. Very similar, and I'm not trying to be crude here, but very similar to the way Viagra was founded, right? It was supposed to be a blood pressure medicine, and they turned out it had other uses, right? So that's what they're finding. I mean, I hate to be crude, but that's really the easiest way to explain it. That's what they're finding out about Ripple. That's what they're seeing now with Ripple. They're seeing that now with Ethereum. What Ethereum does is, again, not a currency, because there's 100 billion of them in circulation, or there could be up to 100 billion. The same thing with Ripple, it's 100 million. Bitcoin, there's only 21 million that will ever be created. So it has scarcity like gold. Scarcity is a big thing in the monetary system. You need fungibility, divisibility, velocity, and scarcity. That's what creates, and then there's one other, but that's what creates a good a measurement of trade, money, if you would. Bitcoin is a digital gold. Ethereum's shining star is the smart contract, right? So in the future, theoretically, and I may be butchering this, but in the future, if we want to do a deal on real estate, we're no longer going to have to put it paper to pen. We can tokenize everything, as they call it, and put everything on the Ethereum blockchain, whereby when if title companies like there's certain title companies out there that are toying with the fact of putting public record on blockchain. If Ethereum smart contracts, if Dawn and I want to do an assignment or a real estate purchase, when the Ethereum, we program the Ethereum somehow to unlock X amount of Ethereum coins once a contract is consummated and recorded. You don't no longer need the help of a title company. You no longer need the help of a county recorder's office. Everything, or maybe the recorder's office, but everything would be integrated onto a blockchain, and then everything's done through smart contracts. And it's not everyone. I hear everyone saying, "Oh my God, now we're going to have computers, paying us out." These are not algorithms. These are protocols, just like email. So it's a series of commands that are carried out, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're gay, whether you're straight, whether you're, whatever the case is, it doesn't censor. There's no human error. There's no bureaucracy to it. And that's what makes digital currency, specifically cryptocurrency, very attractive. But what we were talking about earlier, just to let everyone know, when we were saying, when I had mentioned that in 2009, 10, and so forth, that there were, a small group of investors and companies that were paying attention to the market. If you recall, everyone can look this up, but if you recall, we were being told, don't touch real estate. Remember, 2008, 9, 10, 11. Don't touch real estate assets. It's toxic. The bottom's not there yet. Just stay away. Everyone stay away from real estate. Because I don't know if anyone remembers that. I surely remember that. And now we found out, 11, 12 years later, that all of those people, all of those industries, all of those titans of industry that were saying that were buying real estate as they were telling us nothing to see here. Well, guess where that's happening now? It's not going to be distressed mortgages. It's not going to be distressed properties. That path has already been had to a certain extent, unless you know where to look. It's going to happen in cryptocurrency. Right now, they're saying cryptocurrency is a joke. It's not real. It's fake, blah, 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 blah. Now we know that Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan is actively purchasing Bitcoin. All of the Fidelity on-ramping Bitcoin. Goldman Sachs on-ramping Bitcoin. The IMF talks about a great reset and involving a digital currency. They're taking points from Bitcoin. and all of that. The writing is on the wall. Digital currency is going to change everything, and the monetary system, this great reset, is the soft hostile takeover of the monetary system. It is a controlled demolition of our, and you know what I'm talking about, a controlled demolition of our business structure in our global society.
Right. So either they'll be successful in the way that they're hoping, which is rather nefarious, or there will be a different way to channel those same types of changes. And for more than one person, even though a lot of this gets really complex, I don't know. I've heard quite a bit just say, I mean, I think real estate, you're always going to have some use for it.
Sure.
Clearly, I mean,
Sure.
I'm not giving that up and then whatever. But anyway, like silver, gold, Bitcoin, gold, Bitcoin. And my kids ask me, hey, how do I get started investing? And they have little, and I go, just take a few $100 every month and go trade it for some silver, because if you go look at the debt clock, is it debtclock.org or something like that?
Yep.
And I mean, if we ever did, if let's say white hats, or I would say the good forces of the world prevail, and we do go back to some sort of asset-based thing, and it's related to gold and silver. I mean, silver has a long way to go up. And so I don't know that if everything else starts getting really crazy, I don't know. Every now and then I'll just take some cash I got in my pocket from a couple notes that pay me cash every month from the mobile home park down the street, and I'll just go buy silver with it, you know, because it has it, to me, that's really accessible, easy to do. So I don't know if that.
Non-debt-based assets are, you know, if you want to, all you want to do, you know, what I'm not saying, you know, is panic. There's no panic here. You cost dollar average into silver, meaning exactly what Dawn says. You take a couple $100 every month, you buy silver, you buy gold, you buy Bitcoin. I still do that myself. And what you're doing is you're hedging against the future, and you're opting out of a potentially rotten system, rotten through the core, like Swiss cheese. I mean, there's so many holes in it. And you know, what will survive? Assets that are not able to be messed with, you know, that are, you know, unconfiscatable. You can't debase them. Properties could very well be in that class, but definitely my only concern with properties, if we had to all wear these hats at one point, my only concern with properties is when the taxes aren't paid, the real owner of the property is going to show up and demand those taxes. That is my only concern with real estate. They don't do that with gold. They're not going to do that with Bitcoin, and they're sure as hell not going to do that with silver. That doesn't mean don't go out and buy real estate, but we all got to just pay attention. And this could be 5, 6, 7 years from now, for all we know. There could be another huge real estate upswing, but eventually it's going to come.
John Martinez I think I caught a comment from him saying, oh man, Bitcoin's already at the top. And I go, yeah, the all-time highs, maybe, yeah. But I think the run-up has been a lot more consistent. There's a lot more fundamentals underneath it. So most of the people I listen to say, you know, the days of getting any piece of Bitcoin under 20,000 are probably winding
limited.
down.
Yeah, they're limited. What's going to happen is you're going to see Bitcoin in the next year go to $100,000, and then overnight it's going to drop to 30,000. And then what you're going to, you know, so we've already seen a $30,000 Bitcoin drop to 3,000. We've seen a $19,000 Bitcoin drop to 6,000, and we're most certainly going to see a $100,000 Bitcoin drop to 30,000. But what's consistently happening are new high lows, right? So the lows keep going higher and higher and higher because there's scarcity, there's demand. And every single financial institution now, everyone that matters, has a Bitcoin trading desk. That right there should tell you everything you need to know. You need to start buying something now, because that $500 in Bitcoin you buy every month can be worth $50,000 in 5 years. I mean, you know, for every 500 you buy, it could really be worth that much. It's not going to stay there, and you can always take profits, you know, down the road. But all you're doing is you're opting out of the fiat currency monetary system. That's all. You're just hedging. That's all you're doing.
Yeah. So anyway, just a little comment on that, where I just like diversifying. You know, not a ton, like 10% of
10%.
you
That's right.
and put it in any one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But be sure you have all your food storage and your water storage.
Yeah, by the way, I just want to let you. I want to let you know. I don't know. Dawn knows this, but I took your advice, Dawn. I mean, right now we got out, and I know Dave knows this because we were on Dave's call last week. My wife and I, when COVID happened in July, she got word at the end of June that the office is closing forever, and she doesn't ever has to come back, work from home. 2 weeks later, we bought an RV. 2 weeks after that, we bought a Jeep to tow behind it. I'm currently sitting in my RV in Arizona, in Sedona. Just got the hell out of there right before the lockdowns with our food storage, with our, our mobility, our mobile wealth, whatever you want to call it. We still have our California place, but the only reason we're going back to California is to wrap it up and get out of there. And we've made that decision over the past 48 hours. So,
wow, that's exciting.
yeah, I mean, it's the world we live in now. It's the world we live in, and we're going to try to make the best of it. I'm trying to. There's a statement I keep having go through my head. It's extreme ownership of your freedoms, extreme ownership of your currency, extreme ownership of your assets. You don't want to put. I want to put as little money in Wells Fargo as possible, because Wells Fargo, the moment you put your $100 bill into the ATM machine, the bank owns that money legally, so they can literally do whatever they want with it. Extreme ownership. That's what we want.
Yeah, so it's a time where I think we're going to wrap the call up unless there's any, emergencies up. We'll just go a little, wrap up a little early, but.
Don, can I ask a question?
Oh, sure, Sri.
This is a deal where I foreclosed and I own the property right now, subject to the first lien.
Oh, right. You told me about, yeah, we've talked
Right.
about this one before.
So what's happening is the tenant I owner financed basically did a wrap mortgage. And when I started the new insurance policy, I'm listed as the mortgagee. Chase is obviously listed as a mortgagee. Chase sent a letter to the insurance company asking the borrower whom I foreclosed on to be added as additionally insured on the policy. If not, they will. I foreclosed on them.
This is where these things get really tricky. It seems like. So what are you going to do?
I was thinking, adding them onto the policy right now. But if I do add the previous borrower on the policy, and if there's a total loss, what is the order in which each of us is going to get paid? Any insurance experts on the call?
I mean, well, the first lien holder is going to get paid first, and then second lien holder, and then equity for anyone after that. But I would guess it's like a short sale with that previous owner. You might have to give up to get them to cooperate.
Sri, where's the property located?
Connecticut.
I'm not from. That's one state that I have very little knowledge in. To be honest with you, we do very little deals there.
I don't know if it is state specific, right? It's more an insurance question. And somebody suggested me actually get a forced place insurance in place, where if there's a total loss, I get covered by that policy, in addition to the existing policy that's already in place.
Don't they prevent duplication of insurance policies on properties?
Well, when you NPN first buyers, they do it all the time, right?
Do they? Yeah.
Because what happens is, if the borrower is not communicating with you, you bought the note, something burns, how are you protecting yourself?
You don't even know usually what the policy is, right?
Yeah. So we buy forced place insurance all the time when I'm buying NPN first.
Right.
But this is a different scenario, right? I have a policy in place. I am listed as the, one of the lenders on the policy in the deck page.
How much would it cost you average per month to have a forced place on it?
It's a little bit costly, but depends. But for me, it's probably going to cost not on a monthly basis, but a yearly basis, I think $1,400.
So
yeah, a little over 200.
Well, that's not bad. That's very reasonable forced place insurance.
Right.
Yeah, that's cheap.
Yeah, that's
I
like
never heard
half of what I would
that cheap before.
Yeah, that's half because it's. But anyway, if there's
Yeah.
enough equity in there to protect, I guess
The
it's.
forced place insurance, it is cheap because I'm not buying for the full value of the property. I'm buying for what my payoff is.
Okay. Well,
I'm not.
I would check with them because like I've gotten dinged with forced place and they said you underinsured your property or you underinsured, so we're not going to.
Yeah, I mean, there's an existing policy already, right?
Right. But at any rate, whether you do or don't get your forced place, it sounds like they're strong arming you into adding the other person on. And I guess you can see how that works out.
Right. I mean, I just was not sure, I know you have done wraps in the past. If with this, you ever encountered this situation?
No, with that, I haven't. No, I've never foreclosed and had that situation.
Okay.
You're taking subject to that.
Yeah, when I did subject to with the, from a homeowner perspective, I never ran into this issue because they were always on the policy.
Right.
Right. But this is a little different scenario. That's why I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I would be interested to know how that turns out, how the story turns out for you. Yeah, thank you for that. But anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this up, people. 2020 has been an awesome year. 2021 is going to be even awesomer. So just, in whichever way you're called, it's the time to stand up and envision and be personally responsible for being and doing what we want to see in the world. Like, so for me, this whole year, it's like I'm sitting here and trying to figure out how even wrap my head around the changes that are happening on so many levels, in personal life and beyond. And lately, and I don't know if you're feeling this too, it's like, I got to do something. I have to do something. It's like, it's my turn. It's my turn to defend the Republic. It's my turn to protect the kind of world that I want my children and grandchildren to inherit. And it's like, and I'm in mama bear mode, like whatever it takes. And so for me, it's talking openly about what I really believe, even when I get a lot of pushback from it, believe me. But also a lot of support actually as well. And I'm going to get involved in my community and say, look, how do we fight these, how do I support businesses locally? How do I connect with, there's an attorney in Reno, Joey Gilbert, who's stepping up to the plate. How do I connect? He's asking for volunteers. There's a legal fund, to pay for any OSHA, mafia, terrorist organization penalties and things like that. So whatever it is, get involved and do something. And when you're doing it, I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but when you're in motion and actively doing whatever you can think of to do, you take one step and another step, it feels really good. And you don't have this, I don't know, for me, it dispels a lot of tension. And there's so much that we're not in control of, and it just can seem so big. But if I just I have this one idea where I'm going to show up to this one place, or I'm going to print this one thing, or we're going to have this one conversation. And if I actually do it, there's a momentum and a power that builds. And I really feel like we're going to go out. It's going to be a great holiday season. I hope you enjoy time with your family. And I hope that you inspire yourself and all the people around you. And I appreciate, in the sense of community, all that you guys have been, all of you in different ways, people that aren't on the call. Axel, you're my right-hand man. None of this would happen without you, but I really do appreciate you. I believe in you, and you guys have all believed in me and showed up at something I just started doing out of thin air. And I just want to say that I love you. I appreciate you. And God bless. And God bless the USA. God bless the world. And
I'm going to buy a motorhome and go to Sedona.
I'll see you there.
Yeah. Help you hold up the flag.
Okay, so I guess I will see you next year, guys.
Yes, you will. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Don.
Okay, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Happy holidays.
Be safe.